So let's move on to our module of the week. Nick, tell us a little bit about SVG Image.
Yeah, SVG Image is one of those nice utility modules that I kind of just install on almost every project and forget about it. It allows you to upload SVG files with SVG extensions in image fields. You still have to enable it. I think the only configuration you have to do after you install it is allowing that extension in the image field. So when you edit the settings of an image field, you can specify which extensions are acceptable, in the whitelist, and you have to add SVG. But other than that, it kind of just works. I've never had any issues with it. And, I think it's one of those modules that I feel like at this point, for Drupal 10, maybe it kind of should maybe make its way into core, into the image module, because, SVGs are pretty prevalent at this point.
Right.
But yeah, it's if you're looking to add SVGs to your site in image fields, and this is the way to do it for sure.
I was just checking it out, and because it sounds like something we would like to use on our site, but it does look like there is a current issue playing nicely with media. So that's something to be aware of, but it looks like it's an active issue that they are working on.
Open source.
I didn't realize it doesn't
constantly working. Well, no, it's an active issue.
I think it used to, and then it stopped working, maybe with a recent update, and they're working on it.
That might be I have to look into that. Thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah.
I'm literally migrating stuff from image fields to media.
Makes me wonder if we should do a show on image formats with SVG and WebP,
yes.
Right?
I have a really good book to recommend. The what is it called? A Book Apart has a really nice, very small but really meaty book on image optimization that we've been using as our guide.
Absolutely.
Is anybody using WebP? Sorry, we're going to go down this rabbit hole for a second.
I have. I do use it for one project.
Interesting.
I mean, it's way more performant.
Sure.
But you have to have a lot of fallbacks because it doesn't work everywhere. So.
Right. All right. Here it is. We've reached our. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just interested. Is there like a path with SVG image to make the module redundant and get it into core? Is that something that seems like it's on the project's radar?
I do not know. I haven't looked into it.
Feels like one of those important image formats though, right? That like needs to be in core, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think the problem is that there's a lot of utility modules like that should, in an ideal world would all be in core, but it takes, like you said, Chris, it takes somebody behind the initiative, somebody needs to push it. And, the SVG image module has maintainers, and it's fantastic. Yeah. So, maybe there isn't a need for it to be in core because it works so well as a
wonder what the
module.
use case is, right? Are a lot of people using SVGs? I mean, I know that a lot of people do use them, but I wonder, like, from a core standpoint, like it's not something that every site needs, right? It's probably a pretty specific use case right now.
No, so I guess my thinking is that the what the existence of the module probably tells us is that somewhere in core there's a list that says JPEG, GIF, PNG, right? And that probably could be a configurable thing if it's not already. Yeah, and I wonder what the other considerations are, because there will be.
Well, I think the main thing is that, like, GIF, JPEG, and PNG can just be put into an image tag, whereas SVGs are an HTML tag themselves that are wrappers that can contain, whatever media that they want to. That's probably what it is.
I'm not going to lie. You just blew my mind with that. I actually didn't realize that an SVG was a different HTML tag.
It can be both. Is that right? Because I'm pretty sure you can.
I think you can embed it. Yeah, you can put it in as an image tag, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay.
But the code exists. Like, you have to save the SVG, right? It's editable code.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure that you can include that as a source because it's not a file. It's a tag. So I'll have to look that up. And
an SVG, like an image is an SVG file. So like you are including that. And that file has, code inside of it to figure out how to display that image, right?
Yeah, which is what
Can I divert us
going
even
about.
further?
Oh man, if you've ever listened, we love rabbit holes, so feel free, go down all
Okay,
of them.
so I'm working on a migration project at the moment, and in order to better communicate the migrations to customer and other developers, I got it in my head that I should make charts of the migrations, and the rabbit holing. This wound up with me writing a module that tries to comprehend the layout of a migration with like source, destination, process plugins, and the pipelines involved. And then turning that first into Mermaid Charts. But then I was like, no, this is actually, I'm dealing with a graph here. So I should use clue/graph PHP and GraphViz. And it's generating, this is how I've figured out that you can image SRC an SVG because it's currently like printing out quite kooky charts. And if you mess up your graph plotting, then they just look completely insane.
I feel like UML would be. I feel like UML would be the way to graph that, because UML is made for like code defined.
Yeah. Okay. So my intent is that it will be able, because we work with GitLab a lot. I want to be able to output Mermaid Charts, and I'm conscious that I shouldn't lock it into a particular one. So it will end up being that you can use multiple output formats, and in its current sandbox state, it spits out like a Mermaid chart, and above that, a GraphViz chart on the same page, because I'm just trying to like track both of them. And I think I posted a tweet last week with some of the crazy charts that it was producing for a given simple sample migration.
It's interesting. It's interesting how work tends to overlap, because I'm working on a project right now with charts, and I'm actually doing the reverse, where for the first phase, we're like, we're not going to do a JS library, or like, we're just going to allow SVGs and like upload the charts as SVGs and like call it a day for right now. So,
right.
I'd love to see those plugins. Is that module going to be released at some point? Because
yeah, absolutely. It's a sandbox at the moment, and I'm just trying to see if I can drop it in the
do that in the show notes.
That sounds super useful, because right now I'm doing, you can get that giant spreadsheet of fields out of D7, right? And so all of our whole team's trying to kind of like screen share and all look at this together and decide on labels and all this stuff for D9. And it is like, I need a magnifying glass. It would be so much nicer to have a nice visualization. Mermaid chart.
Those migrations can get wall size, right?
Yes.
Gonna blow your mind. Control plus does great things.
Oh yeah, I'll find the sandbox link as well. Sure.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.